First of all, very good morning to all. I am Priti Choudhary. I am assistant professor in IT department of IT and Ajay Kumar Engineering College, Ghaziabad. So today I will discuss about the what is data analytics, what is data and what is analytics. So in this lecture we will discuss about the data and what is the source of data, types of data, nature of data, and also called the what is data analytics here. So first point is what is data analytics? Data analytics is a subject. Here we use the raw data. We fetch from different source raw data after pre-processing and after analyze. This data used for making some types of models. So find out the forecasting and prediction about our data and find out the insight very meaningful values. So data analytics, also called the data analysis. Data analysis is the process of collecting data from different source. After collecting data, in our data have different types of format and different types of null values, different types of other format values. So after collecting data, we required our data is cleaning, then data is transforming and analyze our data for any forecasting purpose. Data is the process where collecting, cleaning and transforming analysis data to discover the useful information, pattern, insight that help to decision making in our prediction. Data analytics means taking raw data from different source and turning this raw data into a meaningful insight is called a data analytics. So here I use the example of data analytics. Suppose a shop record daily sales data. Using data analytics, they can find these different points. First one is which product sell the most in a day, in a week, in a year. Second, what time customer buy more, which item are not performing well. So manufacturer company not manufacture this product if items are not requirement by customer. So this help the shop owner to make the better business decision. So this is the example where the data analytics use. Okay, now comes to the different source of data for data analysis. So here I explain you data sources, different types of data where we collect our data from different source. Data collection is the process of acquiring, collecting and extracting the storing the volume amount of data which may be structured, unstructured and semi-structured. Data is collect from different source. So data is not always in a structure form. So it is a structure, unstructured, or called said the semi-structure. Structure data format is maybe text form, video form, audio form, XML file, records and other images file used in letters for a data analysis. In a process of big data analysis, data is collection is the initial steps before starting analyze the pattern and useful the information in find out the information in data. So data which is the analyzed must be collected from the different valid source. Okay. Now next point is data which is collect is known as a raw data, which is not a useful directly in a model, in any prediction, in any decision. So no, because that data is totally impure data, so they are the required the cleaning of that data so that we can their raw data is utilized for further analysis from information. This information obtained is known as the knowledge. So knowledge has many meaning like a business knowledge, sales knowledge, enterprise product knowledge, disease treatment knowledge. The main goal of data collection is collect information in each data. Data collection start with the asking some questions such as what types of data it collected with and what is the source of collection of raw data. Most of data is collection. Two types is data. First one is the quality data and second one is the quantity of data. Quality data, it means data is very clean, clear and with right information and valid data. This is all point comes to in quality. Quantity data is the where it is the numeric form and different sampling data, reading data, and we control the quantity of that data. So actual data is further, data is the main data is collection in different source. So here data is divided into data collection source divided into two parts. First one is primary and second one is secondary data. Primary data especially work on survey where we go to directly to different place and collect the data from there. It's called a survey data. Okay. Let's suppose we take the example in a college. We want to how many students placed at the end of BTech in a interviews and jobs. So here we move to every year check the fourth year placement in every company and from our college. So where you do the classes. And interview means directly face-to-face interview called, or then from interview place we find out the raw data. So this is called a primary data survey where we move to every place and collect data from there. And second is conversation between one person to another person only and collect from that their data. So it is called the primary data. And now moves to the secondary data, that is called a secondary. And secondary data also classified into two part. First one is internal data and second one is external data. Internal data is used in any organization from directly and external data is from third party. Okay, like suppose the government and agencies. Now move the first point, that is the primary data. Primary data, which is a raw, original and extract directly from officially source, is known as the primary data. The types of is collected directly by performing techniques such as the questioning, interviewer, analyzing and survey and all. The data collected must be according to the demand and requirement of target audience on the analysis is performed, otherwise it would be the burden of data pre-processing. Now come to the second types of data, that is the secondary data. Secondary data is that which is already been collected and reused again for some valid purpose. This types of data is previously recorded from primary data and it has two types of data also divided into the secondary data, internal source and the external source. Internal source is the own company, own office, या own organization. Internal, these types of data easily found out within the organization. Here the data is collected from own company, own office, such as market record, sales record, transaction customer, data accounting resource. There the data is on organization. Here the data is obtained from on business, on office, on organization, anyone. Second point is the external data. Here the data is found not in own organization. Here data is found from other place, other organization. So can't be data found here the internal organization, can't be gain that data is third party resource. Third party resource, it means the government data and other branches data, other organization data is called the external data. So other source also included in the data form. Here the data is other source is sensor data. Sensor data means with the advantage of IoT devices. IoT devices create the different types of readings, sensors, readings and all. So this is called the data is sensor data. Next one is the satellite data. Satellite data is also the have lot of images from Earth and give the these images then move to base station. Okay, so this is data. This data can be used the collection of information, many types of, and there in satellites daily uses the surveillance camera also fit there, and we can collect the data from there. Next point is web traffic. Web traffic is the third other point source where we can collect the data. Here we use, due to the fast and cheap internet facility, so we can easily upload move the data, find out the data and collect data from different web traffic source. Let's suppose social media data, Facebook data, and Twitter. These point also they are the some platform, social media platform, where we can collect the data in different form, like a post data, text data, numeric data, image data, and video data. So these are the sources where we collect the raw data from different source for using our information, yeah, our good knowledge information. Now comes to the classified of data. They are the in a previous slide we have discussed about only source of data, where we collect our data from which place. Okay, but in this slide now I want to tell you classified of data. Classified of data means different between the data already discussed. Data is different form, maybe have different forms: semi-structure, structure, and unstructured. Big data include big data is mean where the data is comes to the vast amount of data. Big data about also tell you the metadata. So big data include huge amount of data, high with high velocity, with high extensibility, variety of data. There are three types of data, as you know: structured data, unstructured data, and semi-structured data. Now comes to the first data, that is a structured data. Structured data is data whose element is addressable for effective analysis. It has organized into formatting repository that is typically in a database, because database have different types of table, and these different types of table connected to each other, and have these tables have some structured data. Let's suppose roll number is, or let's suppose we take the example of structured data is here. First attribute is a name, second attribute is a roll number, and third attribute is a address. Let's suppose we take the here. So in this row, first row include have text data. Here I use numeric data, and here I use numeric and text data both. Maybe address is house number. House number in numeric form, and where it is the address of places is a text. So this all record this database include this format. So this is the data. This record is a totally structurable, addressable of effective. So according to this table, we can say that here the some address, yeah, some records of some students. So names, roll number, and address of a students. So this data is addressable, knowledgeable, and this data is meaningful data. Now comes to the semi-structured. So from this table, if you want to access any information of student, so you just apply the SQL here and find out the desired input, and find out the desired output from this table, because this table have totally structured data. If you apply SQL query, then you can according to this table you can find out according your desirable output. So this is the structured data. So you can easily access this data from this table, because this is the structured data. Now comes to the semi-structured data. Semi-structured data is the information that does not reside in a relational database. Here, this is the table, just simple. In a structured data, another is have student, same student roll number. This table have roll number and marks, and also name. So this table and this table connected to each other because name and roll number have in both tables. So we can say that these two tables are connected. If you want to the marks of any student, which roll number is this, so we can easily find out. Okay. But in a semi-structured data in the information that does not in a relational data, but that has some organization property that make the easier to analyze the profession is the XML. So XML data have both form, numeric form and also let's suppose we take the example, XML form is the use this quotes form. Okay, so here we use the text data and the quotes data both. Now comes to the unstructured data. Unstructured data is data which is not organized properly in predefined manner and does not have predefined data model, so it is not a good fit for any model. So firstly, this unstructured data move to structure. After that, the data used for any purpose. So unstructured data, there is an alternative platform for storing and managing. It is increasingly prevalent the IT system. It is used by organization in variety of business, intelligence and analytics applications. This is called a unstructured data. These are the some example of unstructured data, like Word, PDF, text, media. Okay, now comes to the big data. What is big data? So introduction of big data. Big data is the field of analyze, extracting information from extremely large amount of data set. Okay, the terms is also referred to the large quantity of data that grow exponentially with the time. Such data is so homogeneous and complex data. So this data cannot work, cannot move to a models to find out the forecasting data. So this data need to some types of cleaning data, have some types of apply the different types of techniques apply on that data. Then this data is moved to the for any purpose and forecasting. There are the many examples of data for special, like suppose big data examples is social media data, to e-commerce store data. Organization in various industry generate to utilize data to enhance the process. Big data include multiples process, including data mining. Data mining is a process where we want to access our data from large amount of data. Okay, data analysis, data storage and data visualization. These are the some process which apply on big data. After these process apply, we find out the good information and good knowledgeable data find out from big data. Okay, now comes to the characteristic of data. So characteristic of data is also known as the 7V. 7V data is the characteristic of data mainly. Following the big data core characteristic, understanding the characteristic of big data, we will know the how it is work and how you know how you can use it. So first one is the 7 V's are included in the characteristic of big data. First one is the volume. Volume is referred to the large amount of data that you have and measure the data is different byte, gigabyte, zettabyte, terabyte, yogabyte in all. According to industry trend, the volume of data will rise sensibly of the coming years. Now comes to the velocity. Velocity means the velocity referred to the speed of data processing. Here, data processing. High velocity is the crucial for the performance of big data. It consists of the rate of changes, activity burst, and linking the incoming data set. Now comes to the third point. Third V is a value. Value means data is referred to the benefit that your data is derived and organization is derived from the data. Matlab data is have a totally valuable data, not unwanted data. Now comes to the veracity. Veracity referred to the accuracy of data. It is among of the most important big data characteristics as The low veracity is greatly damage the accuracy, and validity is the how valid and relevant is data to be used in intended purpose. Now comes to the next point is velocity. Velocity is the big data is constantly changing. The data you gather from the source of delay also might be the different from what you are found today or what you are found next day is the velocity data. Visualization is the showing your data, text data or numeric data in a graphical representation so that we can easily find out informative knowledge from that data. Now comes to the main component of big data, also called the big data processing life cycle. First one is the injection, storage, analysis, and the consumption. Injection is meaning the your data is collecting and preparing data from different source is called the injections. It means what happen in this phase, especially identify the data source, data, sensor data, log data, database data, different types of organization data, and decide data collection types also. Now data is comes to the next phase, that is preparing your data. You want to data is streaming processing, you want to batch processing, data is collected in chunks, and data is collecting the real time data. Now apply the ETL. ETL means full form of ETL, extract, transform, load. Means firstly gather the data from sources. After that the data is transformed like a cleaning, filter and organize, then prepare the data for storage. So it is the ETL process here I used. Now comes to the second component of big data, that is the meaning, that storage data. Storage data meaning after injection, matlab after preparing, collecting your data, you now need to the your data is storage from anywhere. So data must be stored properly for future uses. So what is the data store means? Data store means data create the data warehouse, data lake. So data warehouse means what the here the data is stored in a structure form so that this data I used in future for my kind of purpose. Data lake matlab raw data and unstructured data is used different form. Now the main point of important point in storage, understanding the organization goal to necessary before the choosing data storage type. Example of storage, banking company store transaction record in a data warehouse so that if any customer want to check our transaction in a day and week and monthly, so they go to the data warehouse and find out the right information. Now comes to the third component, that is the analyze. Analyze means this phase focus on analyze data to generate insight information for forecasting. Okay, types of big data analytics. There are the 4 types of data analytics. First one is descriptive. Descriptive means what happened about the data. Diagnostic means why did it happen, कि ऐसा क्यों हुआ. प्रिडिक्टिव मतलब what will happen, कि फ्यूचर में इस डेटा के साथ क्या हो सकता है. एंड प्रिस्क्रिप्टिव मतलब what should we do, और हमें इस डेटा के साथ क्या करना है so that in future हम उसके लिए proper result निकाल सके. So these are the 4 data analytics used in big data. Now comes to the tool used, where it is used. AI, ML, AI/ML, deep learning, statistical models. Okay. Now example of we can easily predict the future sale using our past data, या called say raw structure data. Now come to the consumption, meaning the final stage where inside there are the different types of stakeholder, how insight are shared in consumption after collecting data, after apply pre-processing, and they move to our data is okay. Now create the report our data storing, target of your project manager, business stakeholder and non-technical terms. Example, presenting the dashboard showing the monthly profit growth. Thank you so much. So in this lecture we will discuss about what is data analytics, why data analytics work, on data analytics. So data analytics ki what is the main responsibility and what is the main role of data analytics in a raw data, in a big data. Okay, got it. Thank you.